Hello, it's me again. There's this other thing happening that really frustrates me. It's this thing that these fucking gangstalkers or assholes are like slowly trying to pull me into. And it's a very like a dynamic fucking head game where they just I mean, now I know why someone or whoever in this, however this is, if there's settings or whatever for when they do shit to people to lower the audibleness or whatever, no wonder it's hecka low. I mean, it's like I can be doing stuff and then barely catch little whispers of stuff or little questions or whatever, and it's just, I mean, the normal thing to do is ignore it and carry on with your life or whatever. But I'm just so curious and analytical and just, I don't know, I be catching feelings when something, when I know I ain't doing anything wrong, I haven't like been a really bad like did shit that deserving of this, and so I just catch feelings because it's just, inside I'm like, man, this shit ain't fair. But anyways, this, for the last couple years, man, they've been telling me to open or whatever, right? But when I'm thinking, supposedly, I mean, apparently there's I guess, how Stephen Hawking fucking, his thing, right, where his brain, it turns into words. Well, they've been just antagonizing me whenever I do fucking hear something. And for the longest time, I've been like screaming, yelling for them to stop, to leave me alone, right? Well, if for some reason I'll be yelling, talking shit, and then when I stop and I close my mouth, I guess whatever I was saying, I guess if there's another remote whatever, it's probably the same dude or just a couple of them, but it's like there's one over here and then there's one down here, and when I finish yelling like leave me alone, and then I stop talking, I close my mouth, apparently, I would hear stuff like, oh, okay, well, that's why we're not leaving them alone, we're not gonna leave them, or some voice, well, that's why we're not leaving you alone, or some shit. And I always wondered, well, what the fuck, I'm yelling, leave me the fuck alone, and then after that, something in the distance, we're not leaving him alone, or whatever. And so that would piss me off even more. I could just feel like they want to keep smothering me and shit. But it's been like 3 or 4 years now, and barely I noticed that. Well, no, even before I noticed, but I would just ignore it because it's just bullshit. But just the more I think, the more I just research stuff and everything, it'll come out backwards. Like I've been, so this whole time I've been saying, leave me alone, get the fuck out of here. And when I stop talking and I'm quiet, I guess another stalker or gay stalker would hear it the other way around. It would probably, I think it would say, oh, don't leave me alone, or some shit. And so it's a trip. They were like, it's like they slowly make you notice little things, and then you feed into it, and it's like an involuntarily participating, but it's involuntary. But just when I catch myself feeding into it and I get into it and I try to say something different so it'll sound like I want to be left alone, or I just want to I just would, I think of shit so that it'll stop, so they can stop or whatever, or to get my point across, to be left alone. And I did it a few times accidentally, and then in the distance they'd be like, ooh, ooh, and then I thought it was gonna stop because it seemed like whatever little formula or whatever they seemed to be using on me, I don't know, I thought there was like a hacker code of honesty or some shit, but I've accidentally, I put some shit together so that, just to be left alone. And apparently, I don't know, if I got my point across, they'd be like, ooh, and then I thought it stopped or something, and they would just keep doing it again. And just right now, I heard something like try to give me pointers, like try to suggest what to say right now, rare in the distance. And that's the antagonizing fucking one of the Gangstalkers, that one of them acts like it's like it ain't trying to fucking harm you, or like, man, that's messed up, but that's been going on for so long that I think they're like a team, or one like tries to, and then the other one just keeps fucking with you, and then keeps fucking with you, and then they'll read my mind and they'll just sit there and like, and they'll read my mind how I'm thinking to myself, oh man, well, some other impressions, like, and then, you think that, or some shit, he's thinking about that, or whatever. So I'm like, these fuckers they're fucking crazy, man. Well, I think that's just probably another little tactic or whatever. I wonder, from feeding into it involuntarily in their delusions of grandeur, it seems like they thrive on it, as if, he wants him, but see, the difference is I can't hear it, and most of the time when it's quiet, I could be thinking stuff or saying stuff, and it just fucks with my head that if when I stop thinking, or I'm quiet or something, the stuff that, the way it could have changed, it could change, the way it would influence the Gangstalkers. And I'm thinking maybe that's why they keep just tearing into me, because even when I'm not aware, I guess they think I'm constantly involuntarily participating. It's as if they consider every thought, every glance, anything. Like right now, as I'm fucking making this video, probably they're probably thriving on it or whatever. Like they munch on all of it, and then feed shit back, feed reactions and whatever. And half the time, for the longest time, I always wondered, like, the shit that would come across my mind about remarks and stuff, and it just pissed me off. So I don't know, I'm just sharing that type of friggin' formula where it seems to give them, it makes them feel like they're not responsible or something, as if, but I forgot, the difference is I can't really hear this shit. I'm trying to get on with my life. I'm not a voluntary participant in this shit. And I didn't agree for Gangstalkers or whoever or things to friggin' like splice into me and cause a duality and confuse things where they'll say my name like they're directing something towards me or something, and I'm assuming it probably means, I'm assuming another Gangstalker hears his name or whatever. I don't know, it's weird. And so I'll hear my name based on something that my mind processes, and I process it involuntarily. And that's what sucks. I'll process it involuntarily, and then another fucking noise will react back. Like it's weird. Maybe it's to cause, I don't know, it's like to cause confusion or something. And then they feel vindicated because if something was addressed with my name and I hear it and my mind processes it involuntarily, and then another gang stalker, I guess, hears his name like it's being addressed to him, and he reacts, and then I'll kind of hear a reaction back based on that. And I'm like, hey, in my mind, I'm like, what the fuck? That was based on stuff that I experience at the moment, or something that has to do with me. So, yeah, it's just, it's freaking crazy. And since I can't hear or whatever, and I don't know about, I've never had, my mind, it's just stupid. It's like a trap. Either way I react or involuntarily react, they just seem to be like, we got him, oh yeah, he's full, we got him, oh he's full, he ain't shit, or some shit. I don't know. It's weird. And I don't have they seem to have the capability to be all up in my shit, right? All up in my shit. It's like as if they're like in my face, but they're not there. And knowing what you're thinking or saying to yourself, anything, and if I grab something, if I reach to grab for something or whatever, once in a while I'll catch a little phrase like as if they're bossing me around or something, like clowning me. Like I'll reach over to grab something. Yeah, hey, reach over and grab that. Or I'm about to feed my dog. I'm getting ready to feed my dog or something. And they'll be like, hey, yeah, feed my dog. Feed my dog, like if I was a bitch or something. And so they have all this capabilities, and without me even knowing, just I guess that certain formula toss my ass and not say nothing, but yet imply that, treat me as if I fucking, like if I know what's going on and I got my gloves on and my boots and I'm ready to fucking go at it or something. That's how they're like treating me. It's almost like a fucking gladiator with hella armor and a big ass axe and a shield and fucking all kinds of shit, elbow pad, everything, against a little fucking peasant that's just like a little wooden fucking dagger or some shit. So I don't know why they ain't ashamed of themselves, or I don't know, man. They're fucked up. And so when I involuntarily react, or I just get mad and I just want it to stop, I try to, I guess, come at them the way they come at me somehow. I don't know, like return a fucking reaction. And so, like, to be left alone or whatever, based on however they feed on this shit, suppose I say don't leave me alone and don't get the fuck out, or some dumb shit, and it says leave me alone, get the fuck out of here, or whatever. It's like, oh well, in this section it's something's gonna leave you alone, but up here you said don't this and that. Oh, so up here, in this format, when you said like this, in this spectrum, now you're asking for it now. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a mind fuck and a half. And that's just from a few little moments of feeding into shit. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And so yeah, I'm gonna do my best to, I distract myself best I can. But I don't know. It's just like they just want to slowly stigmatize and get reactions to where even when I don't hear it, even when they're not even, when it seems like they're not even there or whatever, I'm unconsciously reacting based on that. Like anything I do, I'll think of how at a lot of certain moments throughout time, how they'll be like, what are you, or fucking with me and shit. So even when it's not happening, anything I go and do, I'll think of how I got stigmatized in that moment, and I'll think of it. I'll think of what was said to me every time I would reach to do something, and I'll think of that phrase or word or whatever they would say. I'll think of it, and boom, there goes Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking shooting it out as if I said it, as if I said that there, and then I think, I don't know, maybe another voice or whatever, since they're assholes, another voice will probably say, what? Why are you fucking with me, man? What? Why are you saying that for? Or something, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, it's fucked. It's a trip when I involuntarily feed into stuff just for a few moments. It's crazy. So anyways, if this rings a bell or resonates or anything, leave a comment. Thank you.